everybody, and welcome to a patriotic Wild Ride with Steve-O. We've got Andrew Callaghan, a great American journalist who has been embroiled in serious controversy, and he has no problem discussing that. He's very, very candid and willing to accept an L when there is one to accept, and that's something that I respect a lot. I'm coming at you from my tour bus in the midst of my super dummy tour, and man, has this show turned into something special. It really is a new level of dumb, and I do hope all of you guys catch me on the road. But with that said, let's get into some journalistic integrity with Andrew Callaghan. Yeah, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the universe, I bring to you Andrew Callaghan.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. I'm a big fan, man.
It's been a long time coming. The whole exercise in the Wild Ride podcast is a shameless ripoff of what you did first.
No, it's not.
Yeah. All Gas, No Brakes was the original podcast in an RV.
Yeah.
I don't know that that I was aware of that. I think that my whole thing was organic, and that I didn't want to ask people to be on my podcast without being able to at least make it very convenient by bringing the studio to them. But what was interesting was that a mutual friend of ours, Lance Bangs, connected us, like in the heat of the pandemic. Like during the pandemic, Jackass Forever, the fourth Jackass movie, was like the very first like major production to get back to filming. And we were under the craziest COVID protocol, man. It added so much money to the budget with all the trucks and the testing and everything that. And you asked me to do the podcast, and I was like, man, I like if I test positive for COVID, like the whole movie's shut down, basically, So
yeah, dude, I remember those days, man.
Yeah. We all do.
That's for sure.
But for people who might not know who I'm talking about, this mutual friend, Lance Bangs, he's the guy who like can't stand the color red. Like the most like minor thing will make him puke. So he's like the cameraman who's always like doubling over, puking in the scenes. Yeah. Perhaps even hamming it up a little bit.
What was Lance's like first iconic vomit moment?
It's a good question, man. I don't know, but like, and I'm not gonna disparage Lance. I love him. I remember like the very first Jackass movie. He was like in charge of the making of. It was like a half-hour MTV special episode, and we really kind of bonded over that. But what was Lance's role in what you did?
I mean, we were shooting this like project about the 2020 election, and so he was like in the RV with us, going from Philly to DC to Atlanta and covering different election flashpoints. So he was just doing B-cam, but I didn't realize he had like a thing about puking during, or getting super queasy during scenes. So we had this one shot that we didn't even end up using, but it was like a wake-up shot that began with a probe lens that was like in my tonsils that we thought for some reason was just going to be hilarious. And like Lance pretty much puked inside his mouth on like the first try. But wow. he's a real soldier though. Like Lance will shoot anything. You know that, especially like
sure.
If you give Lance an idea, like he's gonna follow through with it.
Sure. Help me understand the probe lens. With the
what a probe lens is, right?
Yeah, like a scope kind of a thing.
Like it was my first film, and I was in charge of like doing artistic shots. So one was like GoPro in the coffee maker. I was trying to be super experimental and artistic. So I was like, what if every single time I go to a new place, you see tonsils moving, and then you kind of pulls out of the throat, and you see me sleeping in the back of the RV, and that's how you know that I'm in the RV, like as a setting. And it just was always like the worst, grossest idea. So I remember we were submitting it to the executive producers for notes, and they were like, "Can you guys take out these tonsil shots?" And we're like, "What?"
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
The scope camera, the probe camera, did it yield good footage? Like when
yeah. I mean, all we have is tonsil footage, but there's probably about 25 minutes of that, and it's pretty detailed.
And was that the HBO documentary?
Yeah, that was the HBO documentary.
All right. And that was like tremendously successful. Yeah.
The HBO documentary? I don't know, man. I think most of the most successful stuff has been stuff that I did by myself, like Channel 5 shit.
Right, but it definitely you wouldn't say that the HBO documentary really elevated your YouTube presence.
Not really, but I mean, as a standalone, I thought it was pretty tight. But it's weird. The world of, as you know, like the world of digital and studio doesn't always cross over in the way that you think.
Right.
Like having a movie that does a lot of streams on HBO doesn't necessarily mean you get more of a YouTube following. You get more of a YouTube following by doing like super dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, man. It's true. It really is true, man.
What's been your most like successful YouTube video to date? Would it be like Burning Man stuff?
You know what's the weird thing is like the stuff that performs the best on YouTube is like anything that involves crime in general. I'm not sure why. Like the two biggest things on the internet right now in terms of engagement is like pornography and true crime. So that's the way people's minds work, is they gravitate toward like shit that makes them kind of want to look away, or they're really, people are interested by violence and crime in general. So
Yeah.
it's weird because like every video that I've done that's the most popular, if you look at these top 4, all concerns crime in some capacity. But I've only done 4 or 5 videos about criminal activities out of like 75. But it just so happens that that's like engagement just goes way up as soon as someone breaks the law on camera.
Do you not count like the I guess the like degradation of society as true crime content? Like, is that a good way to put it? I feel like
Sometimes, yeah. Like, my style has changed a lot over the past couple of years, so now I try to do more like straightforward reporting. And so, I mean, probably the stuff that I like the most is some of the stuff that has the least amount of engagement.
yeah.
You know, like a lot of the protest footage that I did in Minneapolis and Portland, that was like some of my favorite stuff. Random stuff.
I mean, do you have a list of questions, or are you just off the cuff?
I mean, it depends. I always ask people, like, what's on your mind? How are you feeling? And I do this thing that I call hyper agreement, where you kind of just subtly nod along. It's like a Louis Theroux interview tactic.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of just let them go wherever they want to take the conversation. Because most people with something really good to say, they already like kind of want to say it. They're just waiting for the right line of questioning. So you just got to take them there.
Was that you that interviewed the guy that confessed to like murdering somebody? Was that in New Orleans?
Oh, yeah. You saw that? That was only online for a day.
I saw it.
Oh, my God.
I saw it a long time ago. Yeah. Anything ever come about that?
Well, New Orleans has like a 45% homicide solve rate. So, no. You have to have like, in New Orleans, like, you can kill somebody still.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not you, but if you're, I mean, like,
Right.
I'm not saying you should do that, but like most people who kill somebody in New Orleans don't end up going to jail.
But even if somebody commits to a murder, he didn't get specific, did he?
He got very specific. He was like, I blurred his face out, but he was like, I was upstate at Angola State Penitentiary, and I was in the shower, and I stabbed a dude, and he died, and I didn't get in trouble.
Yeah, and
I was like, are you cool if I put this out? And he's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, man.
Yeah, what's going through your head when he's like admitting something like that?
I'm thinking he's joking and like trying to be viral for the camera, which I still think he was kind of joking. Because, cameras inherently modify performance. Like the presence of a camera makes people a caricature of themselves. Probably, especially nowadays with all these interviewers on the streets. Even when I was starting off interviewing, there was less street interviewers, so you could get more authentic reactions.
I mean, even more so, like in the Vegas tunnels, are they more? It sounds like they're reluctant to be on camera. I mean, it seems pretty sketchy. Some parts, like they're like probably on the lam. They don't want to get interviewed as you're walking by. Like any kind of threats when you're walking.
Well, I
through?
mean, it's the reason that they're hesitant to be interviewed in the Vegas tunnels in particular is more about shame than it is that they're hiding something.
Yeah.
A lot of these people had normal lives before. Now they're in a situation where they feel like they're at the bottom of the, totem pole, and they're embarrassed about their conditions. So they're more just like, all right, what do you want from me? I don't want my family to see me living like this. Because most people don't plan to be on the streets forever. They think, okay, I'm in this spot right now, but I'm going to get my shit together. Even if they tell themselves that over and over again and it doesn't happen, they still believe it. So they feel like, why document me at the lowest?
Yeah, there's that porn star that's living in the Vegas tunnels now. Have you seen her?
No, tell me about that.
I was just, because we were looking up people or porn star, homeless in Vegas, Jenna Lee. She's like, I guess people are trying to start a GoFundMe to get her out. But
she's not doing it as like a method actor thing. She's really homeless.
She's really homeless.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, what do you mean? There's people method acting being a tunnel person?
I don't know, like preparing for some role or like making a statement about homelessness or something.
No.
Wow.
What is the summer? So it's a bit cooler down there.
When, the summer?
Yeah, like Vegas is super hot.
Oh, yeah.
The tunnels are 15 degrees colder. So, and it's dark. You can chill. No one's going to bother you. Cops aren't going to come through there every day.
Did you see any dead bodies laying around there when you were doing it?
No, it's just people on the cusp of death.
Yikes.
So you typically go to pretty like dangerous, far out
Sometimes.
places.
Yeah.
Speaking of going to crazy far out places, on a daily basis, I'm going on these intense nature hikes with my new dog Moo. I'm riding my bicycle crazy distances. And not only is it all being captured on my Whoop band, but I have this great Whoop community, my own Whoop team, where everybody sees all of my analytics, my recovery, and I see yours. It's like we're competing to see who's the most fit person in the group. And there's a chat in the group too, and every exercise now I'm putting photos and maps of where I went. So if you want to track me and you're a fitness expert or just a fitness enthusiast, then it's time to get on the Whoop program. If you already have a Whoop band, then you just type in COMM-Stevo to find my group. And if you want to join Whoop, then you can get your first month for free, plus the hardware for free with the waterproof charger. And you do that by going to join.whoop.com/Stevo. Again, you're going to get your first month for free. You're going to get the hardware for free. And I love it so much. I genuinely love it so much. And it's really fun to have a community where we all see each other's progress and fitness. So one more time, join.whoop.com/Stevo and join my community. And let's get back to it. You went to Ukraine.
That was a couple years ago.
And it was like at the onset of the Russia-Ukraine war.
Yeah, I think it was like 30 days into it. We were in Lviv, which is in the western part of the state, which is like a way more... It wasn't like the front line, but the air raid siren goes off every, 2 or 3 hours, and people run into bomb shelters. So that was pretty... It was an experience for sure.
And you also had, like to... how do I say this? Like, you like to feature... like controversial, we'll say that.
Definitely.
The controversial people who are super polarizing, or even maybe not polarizing, just overwhelmingly disliked, and then humanize them.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Right. I was gonna say vile people, but that's not nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, like... I see what you're saying.
I was talking to a friend about your Dear Kelly film, and then where does that live?
So Dear Kelly is going to come out on January 6th, 2025 on an independent platform. Like right now, it's like basically, I don't know. If you go on IMDb, Letterboxd, they have pretty good reviews for it. Like, because I did a live tour and I went to like 35 cities, did private screenings. But we honestly went on that tour just to see if people liked it. And we would basically show a different cut of the film every single night on tour. So we would like modify, because we had we probably had 500 hours of footage in total that we had to like cut down for the Dear Kelly film. So each individual city we'd go to, we'd show them a special scene, and based upon crowd reaction, we would just cut down and like really get the perfect cut by the end. So the final show in LA was a completely different movie than you would have seen on the first show in Atlanta. So,
and you just have two people on your team.
There's me. There's Larry Susan. He's my right-hand man. He's moving here from Vegas in a couple days, so I'm excited about that. And then we have a rotating cast of filmers, editors.
Yeah.
What we actually need is editors, though.
But you have a certain style.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to hire people, dude. But I did the math. Like, I probably filmed only 20 days this year and edited 120 days. So, like, for every hour I spend in the field, I spend 10 hours behind a computer. So my dream is to be in the field all the time and train someone to do our exact style and just have them working out of an office and just drop them hard drives and just be able to keep filming. But right now, no.
Yeah, so you just came from your office to come here, and so are you actually editing?
I edit every single video, basically, yeah.
That's a lot of...
I've tried to get other people to do it, and it's like I'm always not happy with the result, and, I don't want to, like...
compromise
If you teach someone your style to a T, then they're just going to do it for someone else.
Yeah, it's like the Tim and Eric editors. Like,
right.
I don't think they can go anywhere else, or you can't bring somebody in to do that. That's interesting.
Just like that, yeah.
So my friend was at one of your screenings for the Dear Kelly.
You know which city it was?
He's in the New York area.
New York City.
Very possible that it was New York City.
Yeah.
And he described that this subject of the documentary is like just his life is effectively like taken over. Like he's just like it all goes down the drain because he's so obsessed with protesting and like the Trump protests and the anti-abortion and this and that, and like he's in debt and his life just kind of falls apart, and there's like some kind of an effort to make an intervention to like get him like off of this whole protesting deal, and there's really glowing praise for this film. So I think people should be excited about Dear Kelly. And in a bigger picture sense, he described the like statistics for the types of people, for example, who are at the January 6th.
Yeah.
And the types of people who subscribe to like the QAnon and the crazy and the and how there's an underlying situation with a lot of these people that they're in debt, they're despondent, they feel like kind of hopeless, and so like really it's an underlying cause that they've fallen on these hard times and they feel hopeless in life, and so that like it triggers them to just be outraged at anything but their own situation. Is that a fair way to put it?
That's the best way I've ever heard it put, man. It's perfect. I mean, basically, there was these reports that came out when we were looking at the public records of like 195 January 6 defendants, and almost all of them had recently had their homes foreclosed, were in severe debt to a creditor, or in some way were in economic turmoil. And I feel like those insecurities and very real financial stressors that are attached to things like inflation and just global, expropriation of labor and stuff like that, they get convinced that it's because someone else is taking it from them, and that there's a messianic figure like Trump that will, in fact, return that way of life that's been stolen from them. So with Kelly, he had like a perfect life. He had like 4 kids or 3 kids, a wife. He was making $500,000 a year, living in a mansion in Orange County in Laguna Beach. And then he took what he describes as like a faulty loan, basically. So like a 125 loan, to where if you don't pay it back, they're entitled to your assets, like your house and your car. And so basically, he couldn't pay the loan back. The home was seized. And he just, instead of kind of picking up the pieces where he left off and trying to salvage a future for his family, he instead got absorbed into this world of conspiracy politics, where like everything is this grand orchestration by this demonic large force to shit on the little guy and make sure like the tax-paying American patriot is last in line.
Right, and to give context to it too, that happened like in the financial crisis, right? Like so it was like
2006 to 8.
The person who gave him the loan, the guy who gave him the loan,
private lender,
who he mentions by name, that private lender is now suing me.
Oh, it's not a bank, it's like a private party?
It's a guy, I don't want to say his name, but he runs a private trust. It's like a family trust where he was, the loans aren't illegal. It's basically just saying, literally, he got a letter in the mail that said, hey, I will give you between $50,000 and $2 million after a 10-minute phone call. No credit check needed, no background check needed. You get the wire today. But if you can't pay it back, we get everything, basically. And, that's a pretty typical sales pitch for a private lender. So this lender's now suing us. I'm already like $250,000 down in legal fees.
I wonder if the fact that you went on tour and screened it, like if that gives you exposure.
But you went on Lex Friedman talking about how that you're going up against YouTube as well.
I'm always going up against different shit, man.
Yeah, how many different lawsuits are you involved in right now?
Just this one.
Just this one?
But I mean, I had a copyright strike. There's always something happening. But it's weird because the lender doesn't actually look bad in the documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it's an indictment of the legal system, which allows for this to be okay and to happen.
Totally. It's weird because you got these two angles. You got the guy suing me, people explaining shit. It says, Andrew Callaghan is back with a poignant documentary about a pro-Trump conservative who saved his life. How you can possibly extrapolate that from the movie, I have no idea. You know what I mean?
I want to shout out my buddy John Montori, who gave me such an eloquent summation of the film. I really, really love that guy. And he said that you did a great job of being objective and humanizing. You know, almost like a fly on the wall. You just let the subject kind of be what the subject is.
Yeah.
But approach it in a way that really like humanizes.
Damn, sounds like your homie loved the movie.
He did.
And you definitely remembered everything he said about it because you're explaining exactly what the movie is to a T.
Good. Well, again, shout out to John Montori. Now, you said that it's going to come out on a private platform.
Yeah.
But now with the revelation of the legal situation that it's mired in, there's probably not a timeline.
I mean, what I want to do is drop it on a website right now, because right now, none of the streaming platforms even want to hear the pitch for it because of the lawsuit. So the easiest thing for us to do is to drop it on a website, like a pay-per-view, where you can pay a certain amount of money, maybe
you know how to do
$5.
that?
Yeah, we have someone setting it up.
Cool.
It's like $5.55. You own the film forever. You can watch it, like that
Yeah.
type of thing. And then from there, we use the money that we can get from marketing it that way, selling it that way, actually win the lawsuit, and then we can start pitching it. So it's a long form project.
Win the lawsuit.
Yeah, well, you did.
That sounds like an expensive proposition.
Yeah.
Well, you did pretty well raising money for Crip Mac.
Yeah,
right.
man.
So it seems like that type of GoFundMe is a good idea.
What did you guys think about? He got a 33-month sentence for firearm possession.
Oh, I thought it was 10 years.
He was supposed to get between 10 and 15 years because of the career criminal enhancement. And they abolished it in California, but technically, like, the feds still have this thing where your sentence gets doubled if you're a career criminal. So if you're in a gang or you have...
he was already a convicted felon before that.
Yeah.
But his type of influence now, I think that.
I mean, he's just these guys. I wasn't aware of Crip Mac, but these guys described Crip Mac as just a super charismatic, lovable guy who we would do very well to have on the podcast.
Oh, he'd be great.
But then I think what overrode that inclination was like, yeah, but he's a scary dude, and we're scared to have him on.
Yeah, why didn't we reach out to him?
Because we were scared. We were
No,
like, well,
we weren't
if anything gets said that he doesn't like, then
I would be more scared of doing something like that with Mike Tyson, not Crip Mac.
Yeah,
I
Crip
think.
Mac's like one of the nicest guys in the world, believe it or not.
I do believe it. But I mean, and this maybe I don't remember everything.
Or maybe
perfectly,
it
but I
was
remember-
that he ended up getting in trouble and going to jail.
I think that's what it was.
Because and the crazy thing was he got caught with a 3D printed gun.
Yeah, ghost gun.
Wait, what?
That's a thing? Like, people are making guns out of
yeah.
3D printers now?
Oh, totally,
Dude,
man.
they had a movie that had a 3D printed gun that came out in the 90s. It was called In the Line of Fire.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy goes to assassinate the president with a 3D printed gun, and the way that the bullet couldn't be 3D printed, so he had a keychain with a rabbit's foot, and the rabbit's foot, you unscrewed the base of it, and it just fit the one bullet in the rabbit's
That's
foot.
kind of sick.
So as he went
That is
through the
sick.
metal detector,
Clint Eastwood.
he took his keys out and put them in the thing, and so they were like, "Oh, there's his keys." It's
Yeah.
but the keys had the bullet, and
I'm surprised you saw In the Line of Fire.
I it was in the '90s. I was young and dumb. What can I say? Everybody's young and dumb for a time, but you don't have to stay that way, man. And your website doesn't have to look like it's from the '90s. Like mine did for so long before I got in with Shopify. Shopify is the easiest way to make a gold standard website, which is compatible with all of the gold standard components of e-commerce. And you can try Shopify, which you should do no matter what stage your business is in. If you're just building a website for the first time, or if you have a huge company, you can grow your business best with Shopify. And you can have a $1 per month trial period if you go to shopify.com/Stevo and put that all in lowercase. By doing that, again, you get a $1 per month trial period to see how well you can integrate all of the various components of e-commerce and how easily you can grow your business. So don't be young and dumb, and don't live in the 90s. Be like me, smart and old and successful with Shopify. One more time, it's shopify.com/Stevo, all in lowercase, for a $1 per month trial period. It doesn't get any more risk-free than that, and the upside is staggering. So do that, and let's get back to it.
That was a crazy. Yeah, that was a good movie. John Malkovich, Clint Eastwood.
I mean, and I guess it wasn't 3D printed, but yeah, it was a plastic thing.
And so, what you think that? I mean, was Crip Mac happy with the sentence? Have you spoken to him?
Yeah. I mean, I saw him at the sentencing, and I talked to him on the phone after. He was definitely happy, man. You know, especially because his daughter is like 5 or 6 months old. Mm-hmm. So in his head, he's like, all right, getting to know her as like an infant, or getting introduced to her life when she's 4 or 5 versus 15 or 16 is a huge difference. I think he was stoked. But what's crazy is his probation and parole conditions when he gets out are insane. So he can't identify himself as Crip Mac.
Yeah.
He can't wear any Crip-related or blue clothing. He can't say anything that could be interpreted as Crip slang. And if you've heard him talk before, everything he says is coded
that's like his
in the most
language.
intense crypto-linguistic fucking...
Yeah.
You know?
Crypto-linguistic.
I mean, does he have to get the 5s removed from his body?
He doesn't have to get the tattoos removed, but if he so much as comes out and he's like, Crip Mac is home, he goes back to prison.
Whoa.
So he has to go through, like, I don't know, you guys know who Boot Gang is?
Yeah.
He was like a viral internet guy from Florida who used to like rob people on camera. Like he'd rob jewelry stores and people on Craigslist with selfie cam, and he'd go, boom gang, you know what I'm saying? And he'd run off. He went to prison, and now he became like born again.
Found
so he's going
God.
He's doing like a gospel style world tour where he's going and preaching to at-risk youth and stuff. I think Crip Mac, in order to stay out of jail forever, would have to do something like that. Not a full coming to God, found Jesus moment, but like he'd have to pivot so dramatically that...
I mean, what comes to mind when you describe that is, Diddy used to be Puff Daddy. You know? like Puff Daddy just switched to Diddy. Like Crip Mac, they would...
No, have you spoken to him on the payphone? Does he call you from jail?
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah, sometimes.
Is it LA County or is it?
It just says prison/jail. I don't know where it's from. It's a federal facility though, for sure.
What if he changed his name to Mac Poppy?
Oh, that's a really great idea. He can get the Afro-Caribbean audience too.
Yeah.
Open up some new revenue streams. Yeah, I mean, his actual name is Trevor, which isn't necessarily like the best name.
It's not hard, you know.
So you got a pretty tight relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
With Mac Poppy.
Yeah, me and Mac Poppy go way back.
I mean, do you met him from filming, right? So do you have like any like weird, interesting friendships that you've just kept along the way?
Well,
where you're like,
man,
I'm friends with this guy from Burning Man that put chowder all over his face. Like, does that guy still talk to you?
You've been watching me for a minute. That's a crazy deep cut.
Yeah,
wow.
I think that what I want to know is with the Crip Mac documentary that you did or video, did you show it to him before it went public, or did you let him have some kind of or did he just find out?
He just found out. I mean, like, he thought we were the actual news because we had a Channel 5 news van at that time. So, like, he really thought we were, like, legitimate news reporters. We were also wearing all, like, matching logos, and we had windbreakers and matching jackets at that point. So he thought it was, like, you know, KTLA, basically. So he thought it was going to be on, like, actual TV. Like, he was calling me being like, what station is this going to be on? And I was like, no, it's YouTube. And that video got, like, 1 million views overnight, and that was kind of his, like, I guess, pop-off moment.
I mean, how'd you approach him? You found him walking randomly and you went up to interview him?
No, I got his phone number from this guy, Adam.
Okay.
Adam 22.
Yeah, I got his phone number.
I don't think he's the kind of guy you just walk up to in the streets of Crenshaw.
Yeah. But I was going to say, I've met a lot of really good friends through filming. My friend recently, I want to give a shout-out to Mr. Daddy. He passed away. I met him through filming. He was a really dope guy. So, you know, in this line of work, you actually do make some real friends, like our mutual friend Mike Busey.
Mike Busey, the Juggalo adjacent Mike Busey.
Yeah, I think he was mad that I said that. I'm pretty sure. Because listen, Mike Busey and Miguel Colon, his manager, two of the dopest dudes ever.
Yeah, they're the best.
I used to go to the Sausage Castle when I was so young. I did like some of my first viral videos there, like Flip Flop the Clown, the juggalo with the foot fetish.
Well, I absolutely love Mike Busey.
But every time I go on a podcast, I feel like I talk about Mike Busey the wrong way. Like I went on Lex Friedman and I was like, yeah, the Sausage Castle is like a juggalo adjacent fetish mansion. And I go on Instagram, just immediately unfollowed by Mike. I was like,
oh, Mike.
I feel like I have to. I want to be careful. I want to say as much positive shit as I can about Mike because I really do like him.
Wait, juggalo adjacent fetish
mansion.
But
I realize that there's a lot more to the Sausage Castle than just juggalos.
I want to know out of that sequence of words, what was problematic with Mike Busey? Was it juggalo adjacent or was it fetish mansion?
Yeah,
because there's no question it's a fetish mansion
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I think maybe juggalo adjacent is it's like, oh, that's a step too far.
That's going too far, buddy.
I think maybe I said juggalo in like a sort of like not demeaning way, but I kind of said it like I was busting chops type situation.
Dude, so,
I didn't take it that way.
I mean, dude, it's all love, man. It's all love. We got to get Busey back.
Where had more ex strippers, the Las Vegas tunnels or Mike Busey's Sausage Castle?
I would say it's an even ratio.
You know, when I got my juggalo tattoo, the Hatchet Man tattoo, it was at my jackass buddy Dave England's place, and right after I got this tattoo. That right here, the jug for life. I showed it to Dave England, and he said, "Man, I thought your baby tattoo was bad."
So if you ever got arrested again and they asked you if you had any like gang affiliation tattoos, would you have to like say I technically have this?
I saw a lot of feedback on online to watch out for that tattoo in prison. I think they said.
Oh yeah, if you go to prison in like Michigan or Idaho or somewhere like that, there's definitely some juggalos. I feel like in California, you could go to prison or county jail here, probably not encounter any of the clowns.
I love my juggalo tattoo.
It's sick. But I'm saying the FBI, obviously, like the Violent J and Shaggy had a huge issue with the designation of juggalos as a gang.
Sure.
Yeah, we had them on here. They're talking about it.
Oh yeah. What do you guys think about that?
And shout out to Shaggy and Violent J. They just attended their first VMAs. The MTV Music Awards.
It's about time.
Yeah, and dude, Violent J was texting me. It's like, oh, dude, are you gonna be there? Like, and I was like, no. He's like, oh, damn. Then I'm not gonna know anybody there. And they were so excited. And Violent J was so excited.
I mean, well deserved. They've been hustling for
it's insane.
Shout out
30
to
years.
MTV for getting them there. That meant the world. Really, really love it. And Juggalo adjacent. They're like,
Have you ever been to a Juggalo event?
No, but I grew up in downtown Seattle, and there was this park called Westlake Center, and juggalos would hang out there. And one time, I made like a bunch of weapons with them, like carved swords out of the hard plastic from recycling bins. You know, like they would like, chop recycling bins. They would make the illest trash weapons. And so, like, when I heard they were a gang, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But then I realized what that means and what that entails for juggalos who are just, like, not making trash weapons.
Yeah.
You know, but juggalos can be hardcore. Like, don't you guys know, there's some really juggalos who will really, handle business.
Dude, we camped out overnight because Dave England's got this rad like 5 acres and he's got a huge fire pit and we'll like have a big fire and hang out all night and then camp and sleep. And so like we're like hanging out by the fire the night before I'm gonna get my juggalo tattoo, and we're like Googling about like juggalo tattoos, and the scariest results came up. Like there was what was it? Like the one that like juggalo like attacks carves
Cuts their head off.
Carves tattoo off of another juggalo.
Jesus.
Because they didn't feel they earned the hatchet.
Wow.
It was
earning the hatchet is crazy. I wonder how one does that. Just like a lifetime of loyalty or something.
He hadn't earned it.
Oh, this is some meth binge shit for sure.
Yeah, it's
You know, these guys both regret the situation. They're like best friends. They're definitely.
but you never went to a gathering or did
No, I
any
mean,
kind-
I would, but like honestly, just for fun. I feel like juggalos as a subculture are overcovered. You know what I mean by that?
Sure.
Like ironic media like loves to seize juggalos, and I have a theory about why. You know, I feel like that's like hipster media in general can only make fun of a certain type of poverty. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when it's like anything working class white, they get like free reign to just like appropriate and just make fun of.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
fair.
I've met one time I was in Portland, Oregon, and I saw like a bunch of what I thought were juggalos, and I walked up, I was like whoop whoop, and they didn't say anything, and they even had Psychopathic Records merch on, and I was like, what's up? And they were like, yeah, we just think it's funny to dress like juggalos.
And they
I was
weren't
like,
even about it.
wow. Holy shit, what does this world come to? But I feel like what I'm saying is like Vice did such a great job covering the juggalos, but I feel like it became like a ironic meme sphere thing where like people were low-key hating and participating at the same time.
The
I
Howard
would
Stern
just
show.
go. What?
The Howard Stern show has really zeroed in on juggalos for a long time.
They're just an easy target, you know what I mean? Like,
You know what else is a really easy target? My butthole. Because my bidet from Hello Tushy does not miss my butthole, and it cleans it. It makes it feel so fresh and shower clean. Oh man, this is my favorite sponsor of the Wild Ride podcast. I've always said that. And they are so confident that you're going to love their bidets that you get a 30-day risk-free money-back guarantee plus a 12-month warranty on your bidet. And the listeners of the Wild Ride podcast can get 10% off their first order of a bidet if you go to hellotushy.com and use the promo code STEVO at checkout. Again, I swear by it. The idea of wiping my butt with dry toilet paper absolutely just, it crushes my soul at this point. I do not want to smear around poo with dry toilet paper on my butthole. I want it to be perfectly fresh and clean, and the way to get that is with a bidet from Hello Tushy. So one last time, hellotushy.com. Use the promo code STEVO at checkout for 10% off your first order of a bidet. You'll never go back. Oh man, I love it. Now let's ride this baby home.
but like I said, because they're like, you know, Michigan and it's like mostly a white thing, like I just feel like a lot of people feel like they have free reign to just make fun of them. I don't, you guys kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, yeah, I get it for sure.
If you if you had your choice in what you think some of the best content would be to film, like whether it was going
Man.
after UFO people, Sasquatch people, Burning Man, juggalos, political people, what would you choose if you wanted to get the best bang for your buck on content?
Well, I know that right now, and
True crime, right?
honestly, I have an idea, and I don't care if anybody steals this, but you know the flat earthers. I've obviously been to a
Yeah.
conference of theirs. They think the whole world is surrounded by a giant ice wall,
Right.
You know, that's infinite and expands in all directions, like has no limit. So I know that they're crowdfunding right now
People to go to Antarctica.
and to go to the ice wall.
Yeah.
So that voyage would be unforgettable and perhaps dangerous.
And see the reaction on their face when they don't see
Are
it.
flat earthers being serious? I want to see.
Oh, they're 100% serious.
Yeah, they're serious.
Well, not just the reaction, but the justification.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of those videos, and but they keep pushing the goalpost back on like, okay, I'll go here if you guys do this, or I'll go like,
Yeah.
If you raise the money, it's like, okay, well, is it going to be fair? Should I have my people show up? You got to pay for that. I like watching those videos for sure.
Yeah. Also, the conflict between the flat Earth and hollow Earth subcultures is really bubbling up right now. I don't know if you guys know about that.
Say it again.
Some people think the Earth is hollow. Some people think it's flat.
Yeah.
I assume you guys think it's round, but I don't know. Anyways, these two
It's a sphere.
groups are viciously going at it online right now.
The hollow group. Yeah.
Hollow Earth people.
I just think that like when we fly to Australia from Los Angeles, we don't fly across the United States of America. We fly across the Pacific Ocean. So would that not, just in and of itself, that one fact, demonstrate that the world is round?
I believe so.
But flying from LA to London, you go above the Arctic Circle and then back down.
And that too should even further reinforce the fact.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't tell them anything. Most of them don't even want to go on planes, obviously, because they're worried that it might, disrupt the flat Earth theory.
And you posted that video when you were in the MiG going into space, and people are like, "Oh, dude, it's a fisheye lens. It's not curved." But like, there's always an excuse.
And my favorite excuse they give is like, I'll ask him, like, what about the picture of Earthrise? That like dope ass picture taken on the moon where you can see Earth from
CGI.
distance. No, not just that. They say, did you take that picture? And I'm like, what? They're like, do you know who took the picture?
Yeah.
And I go, no. And they go, is it a picture or an image? And so I'm like, what do you mean? It's a photo. They're like, no, it's an image. Images can be manufactured. So basically, unless one of their flat Earth buddies took the picture, it's compromised.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, who do you think's more full of shit, like young Earth creationists or flat Earthers?
Flat Earthers. But the thing is, they really do believe it, and like, that's the thing about the internet. You would have thought that having unlimited access to information would make people smarter,
right?
But it's actually created this like algorithm and ecosystem where people can consume so much of things that people like their algorithms feed them shit they already think. So basically, once you join this flat Earth subculture,
you're in.
You're only recommended flat Earth content, and you enter this digital chamber where everyone's a flat Earther now. And it's crazy. You see it happen with so many different things now.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And there's different types of like algorithmic addiction. Like obviously, the most common one is like outrage addiction. It's like when you think of like Fox News, like, oh, what the fuck? They're eating cats over there. Oh my God, they're taking jobs here. Another one, which is more interesting that I've been thinking about, is like empathy addiction. Like people who are constantly reposting things going wrong around the world.
For sure.
And always feeling upset and mourning events that are happening across the world. That's becoming just as powerful of a phenomenon because people are they're doing the same thing as the other side. They're just sitting in their house all day, sometimes maybe protesting. But every time they open their phone, it's like, people dead here, people dead here. And they just get so dialed in on like this almost like apocalypse theory that it's crazy to watch.
Well, what do you think it's evolving to?
Extreme complacency.
Complacency?
Yeah.
I wonder how outrage...
well, you mean like people aren't doing anything with their lives and they're stuck, and so they're just constantly looking for like some type of validation or...
That, and they're also just like not even interested in seeing what's really going on. They're just sort of sitting around consuming this constant either fear or the other side all day.
Idiocracy.
But when I say complacency, it's like people don't want to go have nuanced conversations. They don't want to have dialogue with people they disagree with. They just...
So, I think complacency is like a lack of action. Mm-hmm. But I think what you're saying is more tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision, but the lack of action thing is like each side of the political spectrum in the U.S. and shit, they think we're doomed. Mm-hmm. For different reasons. And that's what creates the complacency and lack of action. It's like things are going toward like, let me rephrase this, like everything's going wrong. Like we're doomed, we're hopeless, the other side's going to take over, America's on the verge of collapse, the world's on the verge of collapse.
If Trump takes over, the world's ending, and the right's like, if Kamala takes over or Kamala takes over, we're fucked. And
yeah.
Isn't it true that regardless of who wins the election, that we're kind of screwed anyway?
I think that sometimes, because people use language like, oh, civil war, when they're talking about like bitter domestic infighting. But at the end of the day, like most Americans, I would say 90% are pretty satisfied with the standard of living here. Like they don't want 7-Eleven to close. Yeah. They don't want to not be able to go to Cracker Barrel. Like they're not willing to have Wi-Fi shut off.
I'm not disputing that, but I just think that there's a fundamental issue with the unsustainability of the national debt, which is just kind of like mathematically undeniable. That there's a tipping point, The fact is, America's got like such a huge GDP, and it's kind of America's too big to fail. Mm-hmm. But at a certain point, something's got to give. So it's not like a question of when. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Yeah, we're at 35.27 trillion.
And that's not counting unfunded liabilities like Social Security and Medicare. So it's really in the hundreds of trillions. And
Well, don't they have like empires only last like 200-300 years, and we're at that.
I mean,
like all the empires throughout time.
What was the longest empire? I feel like I should have
the
known
Mongolian.
This.
I don't know.
Something in China.
Yeah,
Roman Empire.
1,000 years.
They measure it as the debt to GDP ratio, and there's 2 times when the debt to GDP ratio has been as high as it is now, and one time was right before
Germany.
Right before World War II. And what got us out of that problem was that in and around World War II, like the manufacturing like took off in like such an unbelievable way.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe AI can generate GDP to offset. I mean, I don't know.
Crypto mining in America.
But there's just there's no like easy path out of all of this debt. You either increase taxes, which is never going to get it done, or you print money and inflate it away.
Yeah, it almost just seems like such a large amount of money. It's almost impossible to undo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I don't know. Like I always go on about it. I should just shut up. But
no, I'm actually happy you brought it up. I never think about that. I mostly think about like ideological differences. I didn't think about the fact that like the actual financial structure is crumbling.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I call me a pessimist, but it's like our guy Paul Brisky, who's my editor, and I always say he has me by the balls because he's just like I can't train anybody else to do what he does. Dude,
I need a guy like that, man.
He and I are so synced up. I love him. I love his work and his talent. And Paul Brisky is also just optimistic, and he says, Steve, he says, Steve, when you talk about you don't want to have kids, when you talk about like the world is doomed, it's like he says at every juncture in the history of the human race, everybody always thought the world was doomed. It was nuclear wars, it's like, and you know what? We're always fine. We always go on.
It's actually a kind of a good way to look at it, man. Especially I have to like keep that in mind because my job as a journalist is typically to like chase down things that are sort of going wrong, because that's what makes the news is like something, someone assassination attempt or civil unrest in some way. So it's easy to feel like everything's going to shit when you're chasing flashpoints where things are going to shit.
Yeah.
But most people, like I said, are just chilling and consuming everything. A lot of people don't even care about politics. Like,
Right.
Like I walked by a sports bar the other day. It was like a Raiders bar. And I was just sort of people watching for like 10 minutes. And I was like, they're doing great.
Wow, in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
A Raiders bar, that's pretty epic.
And I was like, imagine bringing up the election. They'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Raiders?
Get the fuck
out.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it remains Raiders bar even though the Raiders are in Las Vegas.
Where is this Raiders bar?
I mean, there was Raiders fans at the bar. I can't say for certain. It was on Ventura. I can't say it was a Raiders bar specifically, but everyone at the bar was a Raiders fan.
You ever been to the Steel Pit in Sunland? It's the Steelers bar.
Oh, no, my mom's from Pittsburgh, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fun place to go.
In New York City, they've got a Philadelphia Eagles bar, or is it a Kansas City Chiefs bar? I forget. But Richard Christie from the Howard Stern Show.
My dad runs a Philadelphia Eagles bar in Seattle.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Last Call.
Nice.
Is it busy over there?
Yeah, every fucking all like 100 Eagles fans in Seattle are probably there drinking right now.
So I feel like to the extent that what we're doing here is journalism, that it would be unprofessional not to like get some kind of an update on where you're at and with respect to like the crazy controversy.
Yep.
And from a bird's eye view, to me, it looks like the consensus public opinion is really on your side, and that you were like, it's like, man, this guy didn't even do anything wrong. Like, why are they after him so bad? But I just wonder, like, it feels like it's largely in the rear view at this point, and like how is your viewpoint on everything?
I mean, it was just a crazy situation, man. Like, I didn't really explain everything that happened because it was so insane, and there was like some lawyers and some people I don't know who were doing their best to try to bait me into a multi-million-dollar
Yeah, and I mean,
situation.
I'm not trying to like, be a dick or
No. I don't.
Gotcha,
I don't mind talking about it. It's just I just generally like to focus on just the documentaries and doing journalism. But obviously, it was a huge part of my life, and it's not something that I want to just like not talk about or just move on from for the sake of being like, oh, I want to. I don't care about PR standing or anything like that. It's a huge part of my life. It's just such a complicated story to explain that I'm waiting for like the really right time to do it. Because you have to, there's two factors there. It's like you worry, if I were to explain what actually went down, like it would create a whole nother shitstorm. And I don't necessarily want to be the spokesperson for dudes who are like, you know what I mean? Like whenever my situation went down, I did my best to not freak out about things I knew that were happening in the background with this PR firm and with the lawyer and all that, and focus on what I could do to avoid putting myself in those kind of situations in the future and to treat people better and basically keep myself away from environments where I would even end up possibly in a situation down the line like I was in. So, but I had it, there was a point at which like right-wing like job offers were basically just like flying in, and like there was a whole sort of ecosystem and media chamber on call ready for me to become like the anti-cancel culture dude who like talks about how it's fucked up and how like I got done dirty and all that, but I just didn't want to do that, and I think that's why I am where I am.
Anti-woke mouthpiece.
Well, the thing is, it's so lucrative. It's a massive online industry, and they're ready for you. Like if you are just a regular media content creator and you experience any kind of cancellation or controversy, there is people waiting to turn you into the icon of the cancel world.
I think that there's probably a lot of caveats to that. Like,
I mean, the thing is, like, the reason that public opinion is where it is now is because I really took the step back, started working these programs, like I know you've done, and focusing on like becoming a better version of myself and not getting salty about people who, I lost a lot of people that I cared about. A lot of people, when the house was on fire, almost everybody ran out.
Yeah.
And, if a lot of people have came back and like, hey man, sorry I acted that way, and I'm like, it's all good.
Wow, that's really it's piercing. It's kind of heartbreaking to to imagine like just everybody just straight dipped. They just distanced themselves from you.
Well, it was being reported in such a dramatic way, because like if you look at the Fox headlines, it was like liberal reporter accused of misconduct, and then on the other side, it was like, here's why you can't trust like leftist men. Just like this whole thing.
Yeah, wow, man.
The Dr. Disrespect thing was similar to that.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
A little bit. I'm not too well versed in that shit.
You know what? Like, even though it's heartbreaking to hear you put it that way, like, I also see it from both sides.
Yeah.
And, like, I think you do too.
Yeah.
That, like, you just kind of can't. It's crazy too because, like, here we started out this whole conversation talking about Lance Bangs, and I got to believe that Lance Bangs even just kind of distanced himself, and he was involved in that project, which was the catalyst for the whole situation.
I mean, every single person that I was working with distanced themselves overnight. So.
Yeah. And you can't be mad at them for it.
That's how it is, man. I mean, this is an industry where that kind of thing will destroy your life and destroy your life by association. Yeah. And so I knew what I was getting myself into when I decided to become a public figure in the first place. Can't complain when those kind of things happen. All you can do is try to survive the situation.
And for what it's worth, when I say from my perspective, it seems the consensus public opinion is it's not that Andrew Callaghan is reformed.
Yeah.
He's worked on himself. He's not that way anymore. Like from what I see, the consensus opinion is that you just got done wrong. You hadn't even done anything. You're like, sure, like the it's like, yeah, this guy, might have, been persistent and pressure, but like consent's consent, what are we even after this guy for?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you got to look at it like this, man. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, though, I have worked on myself like a lot. The thing is, I don't publicize that kind of thing. That's the thing. It's like, I have been like working, especially like the slaw programs, shit like that, for the past 2 years, heavy. But I don't publicize that part of my life because it's like I'm really trying to, you know, become a better person overall and live a healthier life. So I don't.
You got a dating plan and stuff?
Yeah, all that shit.
Are you in a relationship now?
Yeah.
Dude, right on,
Yeah,
man.
I have been for forever.
The lame thing about that is, like, of all those people that iced you out, how many of them called you and said, "Hey, what's like really happened?"
No, basically
None of them.
No, because it's like, dude, I mean, that's definitely the part that at the time fucked me up the most. Is I was like, you know, because I told you, I'd got basically 8 minutes before the movie dropped, someone texted me. It's like, hey, can you give me some money, a portion of your HBO check, because I feel a certain type of way about what happened, even though I had, you know, made amends privately with this person years and years before for a situation that, you know.
Yeah.
And when I didn't pay, they, you know, pivoted strategies, started, you know, sending out, you know, press releases to publications, you know, Rolling Stone, Complex, CNN, NBC. So, you know,
It was really evident too that it was inspired more by the profile being raised around the HBO project than really anything.
Yeah, it was. But, you know, at the same time, you know, when something is reported with that magnitude, people are scared to even talk to you.
Right.
You know, because they're like, what?
Yeah.
They're like, what if I express support privately for this dude? Is he going to go on live and be like, and my boy's got my back? Like, just so y'all know. I don't blame anybody for how they reacted in that situation. I like to think that if that was happening to a friend of mine, even if I was upset with him, I would call him and be like, hey, bro, you got to get your shit together. I love you, but this is not cool. You got to fucking work on whatever's wrong with you. But no, I didn't get any. No one gave me tough love. It wasn't like.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because then they shun you and you're like, bro, call me. You know, like nobody even reached out and just got the whole story.
But you do sort of learn who's your, like, really your homie in that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Sounds like everybody was.
I'm sure your whole team got whittled down to a couple people.
Well, now my team is the most solid. Like,
Yeah.
my boy Larry Susan, like, he, from the jump, like, I was in, when all the headlines broke, I was in El Paso covering the border crisis there because I knew what was happening. I knew that if I didn't pay this amount of money, that it would go to a media level. But I was like, you know what? I know that what they're saying isn't true. I'm going to just work through this situation. Not like I'm going to keep working. And then when the headlines broke, I remember I woke up to like 50 text messages, mostly from family members. And they were just like, you're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? And so I go to the lobby of this hotel and I'm like, oh my God. You know, the dudes I was with immediately flew back to LA. I'm alone in El Paso. Like, what the fuck do I do? Larry Susan's like, you can come to my house in Vegas. You know what I mean? So I'm just driving like.
You can come to my tunnel.
Yeah. So I'm fucking driving 200 miles an hour. I go to Vegas, and Larry Susan's like, you know, you're gonna. I was like pretty suicidal at that point. You know, he was like, you're gonna be fine. He's like, I'm just gonna watch you for the next week. Don't leave my sight. You know what I mean? And that's now my business partner. So it was everybody that was there for me during that time is like my friend for life. You know, you really understand. It's interesting to think that you don't see people's true colors until any kind of crisis occurs. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if you're famous or whatever. Like, that's just a true thing. A lot of people, they have this friend group, and they don't even know if they actually have a loyal circle because they've never been through something. And then now it gets revealed instantaneously. Even if you go broke, like with Kelly in the movie, you lose your house, you figure out who really has your back. And so, yeah, like I said, I'm always down to talk about the situation. I have nothing to, you know, hide from. It's just a matter of, I don't want to say anything that.
Right.
Yeah, it shows a lot of recovery too.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I didn't know about the program work.
Oh yeah, it's been cool. I mean, I kind of realized.
You get a lot more productive when you dive into that too.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
At first, like before I got into AA, I thought it was like a super religious thing. You know, there's always that criticism. Where
Yeah, I
like,
feel like a lot of people feel like that.
Because people hear the higher power shit and they're like, this is like some fucking, you know, Jehovah's Witness energy.
Right.
And then quickly I realized that wasn't like the exact program that I needed, but the 12-step model worked for other programs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know, Kevin Smith, man. Kevin Smith is like, you know, it felt like he's in the program without him being in the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he did do a 30-day intensive, so he was like, he knew the lingo.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I saw you out. Your boy Bam got some sobriety now
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
When did you see this?
today on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
It's
Wow.
like
what is-
120 days or something.
Wow. I wonder if that's legit.
how long has he been married for?
It's
like
it's
3
tough
or 4
to
months?
say.
Wow, this is some
100
seriously old news that I consumed this morning.
He's been married for 120 days.
Yeah, you consumed some old news. The thing is that, like, I don't know, man. It's
No word from Bam, have you?
nah.
What's his last post? He's doing a.
Yeah, I mean, he's,
I mean, you could kind of tell when he's doing good and when he's not due to his posts. You know, like there hasn't been any.
Do you still?
yeah, and any real anger.
Yeah, there hasn't been any outbursts.
Do you
in a
follow him
while.
still on social media?
Nah. Well, that's. I guess I still follow his account that he doesn't run.
Oh, got it. Not the captain. What is it now? Captain Creamstain?
Caption Creamstain?
No, because you're on the Bam
No,
Margera.
he's on some creme brulee stuff.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If he ever wants to reach out, he's got my number. That's kind of how I feel about it.
That's good. You're open to it, man.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, you know how it works, man. Like, it's never too late.
Yeah.
Who was it that we were just talking to where there, I think it was Paul Stanley, you know, like, he said that, he's never going to be a victim, you know, that, like, it's easy to blame everybody else for all your problems, but that's just, if you identify
Yeah.
as a victim, you're just never going to get anywhere.
And on some real shit too, like people mostly care about themselves, and they don't like, as much as empathy can be extended, they don't want to hear like all the shit that you've gone through. People have their day-to-day concerns, so like expecting everyone to just, no matter where you're at in life, and that's some program stuff too, is like, don't advertise yourself as like someone who got done wrong by society and just carry that weight all the time. Just literally like, just live a good life.
It's just, and I mean, like, I'll move on after this, but it's just like the one thing, you know, we look at Bam and it seems like he's doing better, but if he just keeps blaming everything on everybody else,
Yeah.
then that's the telltale giveaway that
Yeah.
nothing's going to change.
How did you break yourself out of that?
I mean,
way of thinking?
I don't know, man. I think I just accepted that my way didn't work, you know, and I think I had humiliated myself. I was just humiliated and ashamed to a point where I was willing to do anything to change, you know, change my behavior.
Interesting. Like people, you just like were so embarrassed by like how hard you were partying type situation.
Not how hard I was partying, but by like just my actions. Like on any given day, I couldn't just stop myself from perpetrating bullshit that caused me to be humiliated and ashamed. You know, and when I say ashamed, I mean like I became capable of being really, really nasty and mean, and like trying to like harm people's reputations and
Oh, okay.
you know, and like hurt,
Interesting.
like, you know, like I was like just, and then I would kind of come to or whatever and just realize like what I'd done, like man, so it's the action of a terrible person, and
Yeah.
I mean, how long did it take for the shame to go away? Like when you finally started?
Ah,
putting it
man,
away?
I mean,
Years.
years. My first sponsor told me to like write on the mirror in the bathroom, "I forgive you."
Oh yeah.
You know?
See, with my situation, I didn't have any shame. That was I didn't have any shame of how bad my life had gotten. I was just like totally
No, but
cool.
things
with
that
it.
you've done. I mean, I've
well,
done.
I mean, I think shame is more about like, how could I have done that to others?
To others,
you know.
gotcha, yeah,
and I mean, maybe you are not like such a nasty person to other people. You just like, for your situation, like you kept lowering your own standards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how addiction works. Like, you have to continuously lower your standards to match like where you're at.
Yeah.
And you were pretty happy to lower your standards to living in a porta potty.
For sure.
But
I was
that's-
chilling.
We're
I was
talking about that with the tunnels too, just like the lowering of people say, oh, how could you live like this? But it's that gradual transition where it's
Right.
like, oh, you know, like I'm gonna smoke meth on the bus, You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna cover myself with a newspaper. Like, that's not weird. That's semi-weird. And then it gets lower and lower. Where you're like, I'm living in a tunnel and I'm, injecting something.
I just got to a point where I just accepted it. And I was just like, okay, this is what life is, and this is what life is going to be for the rest of my life. So when I got to a point of acceptance, it just made it way easier.
Yeah, it's interesting though how you see like heavy drinkers like cast a lot of judgment on people living in tents and stuff, not realizing that like the same justification systems that enable you to be like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, happy hour, and like get hammered until 2 a.m. is in fact how someone feels before getting like a bag of dope and setting up a tent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
totally.
It's not, people aren't that different, And for you, like you felt like you just got to such a low point that you felt almost no shame, and then you would feel ashamed when you sort of like sobered up, or were you feeling ashamed while you were doing fucked up shit?
I would convince myself on some level that it was okay, you know, but I think I really knew that it wasn't. And I was just so at the time, MySpace was the main thing, and there was MySpace. There was YouTube, and I was, like, sharing YouTube links on MySpace. Like, I had mass emails and mass MySpace, and like, I was just broadcasting to as many people as possible, like, what I thought was so rad. Mm-hmm. And then soon to come to realize, like, oh, that actually wasn't rad. And I broadcast it to as many people as possible. In fact, it was, like, shameful or humiliating, but really both.
Yeah.
and I don't know, like, that's really what became the fire under my ass to... Yeah. And it took a while for the shame to develop too. Like, it wasn't like right away I sobered up and realized, oh my God, what have I done? Mm-hmm. There was more like of a slow process of like the fog clearing gradually in early sobriety, where it's like, oh wow, like what did I turn into? It was more of a slow process, and as it unfolded, like I just became desperate to grab onto everything that recovery is.
Have you ever been hospitalized for B12 deficiency before?
From nitrous?
Yeah.
What?
That's the thing with nitrous. It reduces your B12.
I just had a homie go to the hospital.
Dude, nitrous has gone nuts.
The homie didn't. I told him, like, I didn't tell him, but he's like, "What's wrong with me?" And he had to go to the hospital. It turns out, like, all the B12 in his body. I don't know how exactly Whippets and Nas take the B12 out of your system.
What does that look like?
I think that might be the what brings on the psychosis.
Type in B12
level.
deficiency, like, video. I mean, is it like a psychosis?
I mean, I say it as it relates to nitrous oxide, because yeah, dude, this.
So they're just walking around purple.
I mean, in my day, it was all about like just the busy work. It was a lot of work to get all those little cartridges, and to crack, like, I'm cracking Whippets at like
why didn't you just
on a major scale.
Get the big tank?
You don't just get the big tank. Like, here's the thing. There's two kinds of big tanks in my day. There was like auto grade nitrous, which you don't want to be inhaling.
It's very spicy.
And then there's medical
Really?
grade.
Yeah.
There's auto grade nitrous has all these chemicals in it that are just terrible, and like, even if it's like, aside from how bad it was for you, it was like really just gross to inhale. And then there's medical grade nitrous, which you have to be a dentist to even get your hands on.
Well, like, what's at a fish show when you see all the tanks
So
out?
those are medical grade.
Those people are somehow getting the line on corrupt dentists.
So when we were doing nitrous, I had a bunch of buddies that had a crooked doctor from Boston, and they would like a couple nights before the festivals, they would be on the shorelines of Connecticut. They would scuba dive the nitrous tanks to the festival at night, and then bury them under the sand so when they can get to the festival gates.
Yeah.
Vinny's trying to shoot up nitrous.
There was no such thing as you just get a tank.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's not like that at all. But now it seems like you can go into your local smoke shop and get just that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's
maybe
crazy.
not like a huge tank, but like a tank nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. It's like at the same spots where you can get all the kratom and stuff.
It's insane,
Yeah.
especially because like I remember I stopped doing it years ago, but when I was doing it, people looked at me like I was crazy, and now they have these like I don't know what the company's called, the cosmic gas, these like things.
Oh my god,
Everyone's
and they're
doing it.
flavoring it too. Blueberry mango nitrous gas tank. Original.
How'd you get started on nitrous?
Man, fuck. I don't remember, but I'll try to do my best to figure it out. How did I get started on nitro? When I moved here.
LA?
LA party culture, super big into balloons.
How much is one of those
Oh boy, here it's
asking
coming.
for a friend.
I think it's like $50 or something.
I mean,
And how many
dude,
hits can you get out of that?
I don't know. I'm out of the game.
$29, $30. So how much? That can't be much in there. Like how many balloons would that be?
0.6 milliliter tank.
10.
10 balloons?
I think so.
So $30, 10 balloons. How long does a balloon last?
You could sell a balloon for $5.
A minute.
A minute?
Yeah.
I mean, it lasts as long as you keep huffing it. Is really what it is.
Exactly.
You know, like it used to last me for days. So yeah, well, you said 10 balloons for $30, and then $5 a balloon. So that's $50.
Yeah, I mean, you guys ever heard of the Nitrous Mafia before?
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude!
Oh,
I
yeah.
talk about juggalos. I remember I was following the Grateful Dead, and I mean that was almost like the original juggalo scene. It was the Grateful Dead being in the parking lot,
Hippie crack.
and they called it hippie crack for sure, man. Like around the nitrous tank was the sketchiest, like. The nitrous tank just brought bad, gnarly energy. And people would get the balloons, they'd walk away from the tank, while they're walking, they're inhaling the balloon. But the thing is that you lose your consciousness. It's called
Fishing out.
It's called
it's called
fishing out.
fishing
You know
out.
why it's
Yeah.
called fishing out? It's because you're on the ground flopping
Yeah.
like a fish.
Oh, I thought it was
unconscious.
because of Fish, the band.
No.
No.
It's because you're actually convulsing like a fish.
Yeah.
Or like the Elvis when they're trying to walk and they're just like,
And the thing is too that like when you would be at the Grateful Dead show, like walking around like the parking lot, there was like people would have like serious like injuries on their faces.
Yeah.
You know, like you could play like road rash on their faces, and you could. It was 100% giveaway that they had fallen unconscious while inhaling nitrous and landed on their face.
There's a picture of me online. I was wearing a G-Unit wife beater, and I had 5 balloons in each one of my fingers, leaving one of those sketchy Nitrous Mafia tents.
Oh, my
dude,
God.
the last Grateful Dead show I went to was at the Bowl right here, and I remember walking down Hollywood or Highland, and then you just saw empty tanks for like a block, and then towards the parking lot, you hear the and then as you get closer, there's people just on the ground laughing hysterically,
Jesus.
and then you keep going, and then they're passed out, and that was like this is happening right on Highland Boulevard.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I'm talking about the Grateful Dead parking lot as if it's something that ended, like, 30 years ago. But
It still goes down.
It still
is
goes
it
strong.
still the exact same scene as
Yeah.
it ever was?
Same scene.
Yeah. I feel like they've gotten a little bit more strict because
Strict in the parking lot?
yeah, strict in the parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get more strict in the parking lot?
Shakedown Street. There's no way. I remember I ate a falafel out of the
You
trunk
can't.
of some guy's car after a show, and I was like, dude, something's gonna happen to me.
Honestly, these shows are so fun. Like the
Yeah.
Dead & Co. lot scene is pretty good. I made a video at one of them. Dude, it's weird because I'm not like a huge fan of the music, but the vibes
the
of the actual
scene,
event is
yeah.
sick. Like,
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Scott and I are big fans of Grateful
I gotta
Dead
just
music.
listen to it for the first time. I've never heard a Grateful Dead song.
There's kind of like different types of Grateful Dead music, just because there's so many years of it. A lot of it's awesome, man. Like there are Grateful Dead songs that will bring me to tears. I love
Dude.
them so much.
So what do you think's like the best album as a starting point for a prospective fan?
Best album as a starting point.
The greatest hits.
Grateful Dead Essentials.
Yeah. For sure.
Maybe
Sugar Magnolia, dude. You know.
you think Terrapin Station?
Terrapin Station is
No,
up there, dude.
He's not ready to go on the cosmic voyage.
Oh,
just
come
yet.
on, don't tell me that, man.
Yeah, maybe Terrapin Station.
Yeah, you
isn't
got to
it?
get like an upbeat, you know.
I mean, we could do In the Dark. I mean, that'll get you done. That's got your Throwing Stones. That's
that'll
got
get you
your
a little
sniff. That's gonna give you your Touch of Grey.
I
your
need
Throwing
something new. I
Stones.
listen to rap only, basically. And I leave the house so fucking mad every day.
Yeah.
You know, because I listen to like it's called 954 fast pitch. It's rap that's sped up at 2 times, so it sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks. So it's like it's insane.
What?
So, but it really gets you ready to work and go to the office, especially if you're like about to go edit. Like just play some 954.
Can we hear a sample of that?
Yeah, I
Would
mean,
that be like Suicide Boys kind of?
No. This is actually regular songs that the DJ takes and he speeds them up at 1.5 times and pitches them down.
Click on that video.
All right, dude. Well, have we arrived on any imminent ways to do fundraising, or
No,
are we
I don't
just
even-
we're gonna put together this paywall and get the Dear Kelly? Because like I said in the beginning, I really believe in your Dear Kelly. I haven't seen it, but my buddy John Montori.
Hell yeah, I can send you a private screening link if you want to.
Love it,
Yeah,
love
man.
it, and I'd love for us to help you put together the paywall. It sounds like the approach I took for my gnarly special is going to be the best approach, because it's literally you just take these different pieces and put it together, and you're not subject to any corporate involvement that's going to jam you up.
Hell yeah, well thanks for having me on, bro. It was a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah,
this
for
was
sure,
fun.
man.
I'm a big
Likewise.
fan.
Dude.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, man.
Podcast, man.
Rooting for you, brother.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate you guys, bro.
All right.
I dare say it's impossible not to respect Andrew Callaghan after that conversation. I mean, the guy's just straight up accountable. He's honest. He's vulnerable, and I think he's really likable too. And you know, I love my dog. This is coming out a couple days before the full comprehensive story of Moon Pie. Oh man, I love Moon Pie. And you know, I'm putting up main channel videos every single week. Back in 2019, my record was 25 straight weeks of a main channel video, new main channel video every single week. And I'm determined to break that record. It's not gonna be easy, man. Wow, is that a lot of work. But when you've got a guy like the gorgeous Paul Brisky, you got a fighting chance. And yeah, dude, I love you guys for sticking around to the end of the podcast. I hope you catch me on my Super Dummy tour. The show really is damn good. And fucking A, we'll see you on the road. I love you guys.